Well, tonight we heard the president talk about his vision of America as what's best for our future. And as we count down the final months of his presidency, Americans need to remember that this administration's policies have been a disaster. The protection of America and its citizens should be the president's top priority. But in the past few weeks, we've seen him go out of his way to announce executive gun control that could make it harder for law-abiding citizens to exercise their Second Amendment rights when they need them the most. His lack of leadership has resulted in global instability, the rise in ISIS, the drastic weakening of our military. Americans are now less safe because of Middle Eastern instability he caused with his hasty withdrawals from Iraq and Afghanistan. The deal he signed in Iran does nothing but appease the enemy. And with every terrorist released from Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay, we have another attacker to be worried about. We're now at a point where American dominance on the seas, in the skies, and in space can no longer be taken for granted. And that's a quote from Chuck Hagel, the president's former Secretary of Defense. Now, see, that's not me talking. Let me repeat that. He said, this is Obama's Secretary of Defense, we are now at a point where American dominance on the seas, in the skies, and in space can no longer be taken for granted. Obama tries to take credit for the country's energy renaissance, but what he won't acknowledge is that it's occurred in spite of his war on fossil fuels. He vowed to veto the bill allowing American oil exports, and on federal land where he has control, oil production has actually fallen. On private land, where he doesn't have control, it has increased by 3 million barrels a day. On health care, the president's health care policies have hurt families, reduced patient choice, and caused costs to skyrocket nationwide. In my state of Oklahoma, costs have increased by 35.7% just in this year alone. President Obama vetoed the bill Congress passed to dismantle Obamacare and to defund Planned Parenthood, but we won't give up until it is successfully accomplished. We won't quit. The Republican majority, that's us, in just 1 year, passed the first long-term highway bill and the first balanced budget in a decade. We passed an education reform bill that repeals the Common Core and provided permanent tax relief for families and small businesses. This Congress, while I have served as the chairman of the Environment and Public Works Committee, we've worked to stop the EPA from ignoring the states and overregulating every sector of our economy. Don't take my word for it, look at the facts. 31 states are now suing the EPA over its Waters of the United States rule. That's called the WOTUS rule. The federal courts have placed a nationwide stay on that rule. 27 states now have sued the EPA over its power plant regulations because they know these regulations will cost $292 billion and result in double-digit electricity price increases with no measurable emission changes. This confirms the president is delusional when he says these regulations will save the planet or that they bolster the worthless climate change agreement in Paris, which the next Republican president will swiftly do away with. The bottom line, we're going to stop Obama's egregious overreaches of executive authority and restore the values that made America great in the first place. It's got to be done not only for my 20 kids and grandkids, but for all of America.